This recording is going to show you how to create your own custom scenario. We're going to first start by going to the upper left-hand corner with these three drop-down lines. You're going to click on that and open up till you get to this box here where it says New Scenario. Click on that. And you're going to come up with this blank workspace. On the left-hand side, you're going to go to Events and click on that pencil. When you do that, you're going to see these two icons. You're going to see this dialog box and you're going to see this plus sign. You want to click that plus sign. And now here's where you start your work. In these four highlighted boxes, this is your vital signs. To the left, you're going to name your state or tile. You can do trending times. You can do jump to after next. You can do shock and jump to after next. You can pick which monitor you want to use. You can set your numerical parameters here, and you can create checklists as well as sounds and media, labs, and if you have a sim scope, you can add your lung sounds as well, and your lung sounds, your bowel sounds, and your heart tones if you want to. But we're going to keep it basic. We're just going to do a couple simple tiles just to show you, get you started on how to work. This is very intuitive, so don't be afraid of it. Now, the first thing you want to notice that you have these eyes on three of your vital signs: heart rate, SpO2, your end-tidal CO2, and respirations. Blood pressure does not have an eye because the participant actually has to touch the blood pressure button on their monitor in order to get a blood pressure, so you don't have to worry about them seeing anything until they actually touch it. Heart rate, SpO2, and end-tidal CO2 or respirations will show on their monitor immediately unless you have these eyes turned off. So for our purposes, we're going to turn those eyes off for the first state, because once they get this on, you can go back manually and turn them on as they do the skill. And you can see it's highlighted in blue. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to name this. And I want to name this State 1. And we're going to create an SVT. So I'm going to call it State 1 Initial SVT. Okay. And now I don't want to do any trending right now, and let's say that I want the state to change to the next two after a certain amount of time. You can do that. Let's say if in a minute you want them to become unstable, you can do that. But right now we're just going to create a simple one. We're going to have the next state going to go into after they give adenosine, so I'm not going to create a jump to after next time at this point. But what I do want to do is I want to change the heart rate. I want to give them a supraventricular tachycardia, so I'm going to spin this dial until I get this over 200. Now, if I want to get really fancy, if I go to this box here with this arrow and I open that up, I can give them PVCs and PACs and PJCs as well also. If you click in this middle section, this gives you a list of other abnormalities. So you have cardiac arrest, you have atrial abnormalities, et cetera, a long list to choose from. But obviously right now it's going to keep it in a sinus at a rate over 200 to give them that SVT. Blood pressure, if I turn the dial from the outside, it's going to keep the systolic and diastolic married. So I want to unmarry them, so I need to open this box by touching this little dialog box. And now I can separate the systolic from the diastolic, and I want to give them a decent blood pressure because I want them to give adenosine versus synchronized cardioverting. So they got a decent blood pressure. So I just close that up. SpO2, I want to give them a decent SpO2, so I'm just going to turn the dial and set that at about 94. And if you click the middle section here, it does give you two pleth waves, not too much to choose from, but you got a poor or a normal. I'm going to leave it at normal. And now I'm going to go to my end tidal CO2. The toggle is up, so that changes my end tidal CO2. So I'm going to give them a 40. I toggle this down, and I can give them a respiration rate. Let's make them a little anxious and give them about 20. If I open this box up, I can separate out the SpO2 from the end tidal CO2 from the respiratory rate. So if I want to just give the respiratory rate, I can open that up separately from your end tidal CO2. You can see I'm opening and closing the eyes, but I want everything closed off, so I'm going to leave it at that and close it. So your end tidal CO2, if you click on this middle section, you can also change the waveform. So you see you have a lot of different ones to choose from. And we also have the legacy waveforms that shows the waveform versus a picture here. So, but they're both the same. So you have severe, you can find severe down here as well. I'm going to close that out. And you notice that now I have my vital signs and my heart rates all in blue. Now I want to pick which monitor. Let's say I have a couple different monitors and I want to pick which one I'm going to use for this scenario. And I'm going to pick the Zoll. And now I'm going to hit update. And you see that I'm still not ready saved yet. I have this red circle with the line through it. That is if you wanted to delete that. And then to the right of it, you have two lines. That is if you click and drag it, you can move these down if you have multiple tiles. So now it's not saved yet. I have to click this check button before I save it. So I click that check button, and now that's saved. And you can see state 1, initial SVT. It shows a picture of which monitors I chose. It has a picture of my rhythm, and it has my vital signs. Now I'm going to create a state 2. So I'm going to go back up to that pencil. I'm going to click that pencil. And what I can do is I can add another one right there. So I'm going to add another one. I'm going to call this state 2. State 2 after medication. Okay, so this is after they give a medication to slow the heart rate down. So I want to trend this though, because I'm not going to give them, they're not going to go from 220 to 60, let's say, right away. So I'm going to trend this to, let's give it over 20 seconds. So after they give the medication, you're in the state, it's going to trend the vital signs down 20 seconds. I'm not going to do any jump to because we're not going to create another tile after this. But if you want to jump to the next state, let's say that you want to now make them go unstable. After maybe 60 seconds, you can create that tile and it will jump to that next tile automatically without you doing anything. I'm going to go down to the monitor and make sure I select my monitor, which is going to be the Zoll. And you notice on the second state, my eyes are all open, and that's the way it should be, because at this point in time, they should have everything on the patient. I'm going to scroll down and see if there's anything else that I need to do. I think I'm good. Oh, I need to set my heart rate and my blood pressure at SpO2. So I'm going to set that heart rate at 60. I'm going to give them a blood pressure. I'm going to give them a good blood pressure. I'm going to set their pulse rate. I'm going to give them 100%. I'm going to give them an end tidal CO2, a normal end tidal CO2, and a normal respiration rate, so they're good. And now all I do is hit update, and I'm going to go back up to the check sign and hit the check sign, and now I have my two states. So you can see state 1 in the blue, that's what's active now. When I click on this tile here, it's now blue, and you can see that all my vital signs are going to be trending down. That's what that blue circle means, that when you trend it, it's going to give you that timer that you're going to see it trend down over that 20 seconds. Now the trending down only trends all of them. It's not one specific one or not. In another video, I'll show you how to do one vital sign over another, but it's going to trend all the vital signs to whatever you set this tile to. I look forward to talking to you in the next video on how to create checklists and your media as well.